have so many great explanations, a variety in here in fact. So I just wanted to look at a couple, and all of these are where you're at, and that's perfect. Actually, could I borrow? Oh no. I'm not going to read it closely, okay? No worries. So just looking visually at this one, we have an explanation where we have some computation here, and we have some writing here. So we have some information back in here. Okay? Looking at this one, there's a lot of writing up here. So, do you mind if I?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go for it.
So, allowing students to solve problems in the manner that's easiest to them, as long as justifying is an advantage. The most effective way for a particular student may not necessarily be the most effective way, but it makes sense. Exposing students to different thought process alleviates it. Oh, I like this. Elevates.
Our
Which is
was
like this
originally,
whole idea of this.
and our
Yeah.
green is kind of what we pulled together.
Yeah.
and added.
Oh, thank you for that.
There's
Kindergarten, we're color coded.
Yeah. Okay, so this part is answering this question.
Right.
Okay, so we believe that the order does not make a difference to the consumer. We tried multiple so that's your
Right. Our thesis.
conjecture, and here's your justification. We tried multiple examples of different object prices, taxes, and discounts. We also tried multiple examples of same tax and same discount. So you're talking about that process that you've gone through. And so here you have your examples here, some math, and
Conclusion.
conclusion is down here. No difference to consumer, but difference to tax collector. And then up here, there's also more mathematical reasoning. This shows the commutative property where you can switch the order of the tax and the discount. And this,
It simply says we did not use
which is fine.
the
Which is
distributive
fine.
property.
So it's that commutative property, which sometimes as elementary teachers, especially in the upper grades, 4, 5, 6, we think, oh, commutative property, you guys get that, right? A plus B equals B plus A, right? That looks the same. But really, working this out through this problem, it's really not simple and clear. I wanted to point this out because they went to that whole generalization. Will it work for any number? And you could try 5 numbers. You could try 10 numbers. You could try 100 numbers. And obviously that helps you, yes, if it works for more and more and more, that's more and more evidence that that will work. Well, this table took that to the abstract, and they used some letters to represent their thinking and describe that in terms of a function. So this shows a continuum of the way the reasoning will go, and obviously in your classrooms you'll have that continuum as well. Okay? Really nice job persevering through all of this.
All right, so we're going to pretend like we're walking into somebody else's classroom. She has already, let's say her name's Mrs. Jones. She has already been doing a lesson with her students about some reproduction. Birds do it, bees do it, we all do it. Anyway, so she's already talked about asexual reproduction. So now she's getting into, all right, other things that also reproduce and different points. So the 3 main points, the big idea is that, living things depend on each other in order to survive, right? There are relationships. Some are beneficial and some are harmful. But the 3 big things is that your dogs have baby dogs, humans have baby humans, and so forth, right? Life begets life. Living things have structure for that reproduction. For example, flower dissection, which is one of the things you're going to get into in just a minute, and that there are different ways in which plants can reproduce, right? We have different ways to pollinate different plants. So what you need to do is open up your notebook to a new page. And I'm going to be giving each of you a flower that you will be dissecting very carefully just with your fingers. Okay? You're going to be putting it in your notebook, but as you dissect it, you're going to be labeling it, drawing and labeling the different parts of the flower. You do the best you can. If you're not sure about all the parts of the flower, just maybe talk with each other. But that's the first step in what we are going to do. Okay, hold on. Some of you have already started, so let me just back up for a second. So you're going to take your flower, you're going to draw it, okay? Because you can start taking it apart eventually if that would help, because what you're going to be doing is, I know I'm coming with them, some people have already started. I'm just going over this again. So you're going to be drawing your flower, and if it helps, yeah, you're going to eventually dissect it. You're going to have to open it up to be able to see all those parts. As you're drawing each of the parts, you're going to be labeling those parts. Like I said, if you're not really sure, feel free to talk with each other about what those parts might be called. I'm just coming with the rest. If you want, you can just kind of flatten out your flower the best you can so you can see the parts, and then maybe just from there finish labeling at some point. But I want you to think, as you have been drawing your flower and labeling the male and female parts, does this help you think about how a flower reproduces? Yeah. Absolutely. Right. All right, so we are going to take a look at a little video about thinking about pollination. And this is something you could definitely show with your students to kind of get them interested. So, thank you. I was just going to ask.
I guess if it.
Oh, it's the other ones. Flip them up. No, flip them up. There you go. One thing, before we finish watching the rest of the video, I want you to think about questions, because after you're done watching the video, I am going to have you write down any questions you have about pollination, about any of your observations from the video. Okay, so kind of have that in mind.
They can write observations.
I was just going to say, and feel free to write down anything that you want while you're watching it as well. Observations and questions.
What's it called? Disney?
Beauty of pollination. Beauty of.
Well, it suggested another place that you can.
Animals are instrumental in pollinating plants through different body parts.
Right? Anybody else? Yes.
I was kind of impressed by the immense quantity. When you multiply that one little section in the video times the entire world, that's how many billions of plants are dependent on how many billions of insects. It just is.
You said dependent?
Yeah, you can hear my kids say that.
No, that's a really good point. Very good point. Yes.
Kind of see the order or the circle of life of how everything kind of, like she said, they're all depending on each other, but it all kind of flows together, like from reproduction, kind of the circle of life. Like you got the birth, the life, death, and then rebirth. So you see all of that, and that always.
Anyone else? Well, that was a perfect segue, so thank you both very much for that. Okay, so what happens if suddenly, and I'm sure a lot of you, or not, maybe not all of you have heard, bee population is quickly dwindling. So what happens when we no longer have any of those insects or those animals or mammals to help pollinate our plants? What happens? What are we going to do? So what would we do? How would those plants get pollinated? Because a very small amount are going to be pollinated by the wind. I think it's not 10% of all the plants would actually get pollinated by the wind. So even if all animals, insects, whatever, were wiped off of the earth, not all the plants, most of the plants would die, because the plants are so dependent on those different things for pollination. So what happens? Then what are we going to do? Yeah.
Use like a factory system, like how people or growers of flower shops, however they grow their flowers quickly enough to sell them, that will probably be the only mode of
pollinate.
So drones, mini drones.
And what?
I'm just saying that technology is advancing so fast. Maybe I don't know, miniature life-size, some man-made bees. I mean, we're creating drones. I'm sure they can eventually that technology is going to get smaller and smaller, but they'll be able to pollinate.
All right. Well, you're on the right track. So yes, eventually, I mean, if that was the scenario, yes, we would have to actually go out and figure out a way to hand pollinate our plants, right? Okay, so this is where you guys are going to get to do a little hands-on activity, okay? So thinking about different flowers and their different structures and how that pollen not only has to be picked up but also drops off, you are going to be working with the people at your table to create a hand pollinator to pollinate a flower. Okay? All right. So, ready? So we're going to distribute a bag of goodies,
I'll let you guys know.
materials.
It would be the part 8.
Your card game, yes.
Like that's right.
I like your drone view.
All right. You know what? While the bags are being passed out, before you open them up, if you could all take a look at the chart. So you come up with your own information, your own data. We have some up here that we got from random tables. Whether yours matches this or not is okay. That's completely all right. All right, but now that you have tested some of these different materials and how well they
Pick
fit.
up materials, pick up and drop off materials.
Sorry. No, I just, I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, so now that you've tested how they pick up and how they drop off, we are going to be giving you a second baggie of goodies. Okay, so now though, before we give you that bag, I would like you to turn into your handouts R1 through R4. They are pictures of some different flowers in the back of, no, it's in the back of your handouts.
In your handout.
All right, I see that. Is there anybody that doesn't have them out? All right. The structure of these flowers are all different, and you're going to have to think about creating or designing a hand pollinator that will work for these flowers.
So this is the one pollinator that will work with each type of flower, or the one
All.
one for all flowers?
Doing it with the one you're getting.
Right.
Oh,
So we're
we're
gonna.
going to get-
Yeah. So that's what I'm. That's yeah. So you're gonna have. There are 4 different flowers. So I was just trying to show you real quick the picture so you understand which ones are which. The Dutchman's pipe. Hopefully you got that one.
So this will be the pollinator for the Dutchman's pipe.
Okay. Then there's the poppy sunflower, which is just the petri dish. And then the jack in the pulpit, which is kind of a little test tube thing.
With a little thingy.
How's it different from the first one?
It's got the,
Oh, okay.
right,
So,
All right.
I'm sorry, which one was which?
okay.
The one with the top on it is for the jack? Okay.
You're just gonna get one, so we can clarify
Oh, okay.
You're only gonna get one of the flowers.
for the whole table.
Okay.
So as a table, now, oh, did you pass out the other bags?
Not
Okay,
yet.
as a table, so Gilly will be passing out another bag of materials. Okay. So together with the people at your table, you are going to design a hand pollinator using the materials in the second bag as well as the materials in the first bag that you received. And you have to come up, somehow design a hand pollinator that will work for your flower.
And they can test this there.
Oh, yeah, of
Right.
course they can test.
So there's a special way to test. Should I show them?
Sure.
Okay, so there's a specific way to test because we all want to be doing the same type of testing. So that's where you're gonna take your secret document and turn it over and you'll see the 3 flowers. And when that gets turned over, you'll get this Dixie cup with a hole in it and you'll put it on top of the flower, okay? Then whatever design you have come up with, you're going to take whatever that is and put it in the flower, pick it up, so that's the pickup, and then you're going to tap over the top of the Dixie cup on this flower, because the pollen has to get to a specific place on the flower 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then you'll look at how much pollen was dropped off where it needs to go for the pollination to occur. And then that's going to tell you, that informs as you're designing your hand pollinator.
So you're gonna write a statement. Your statement is your claim. Which one of your creations, your pollinators, would work the best for your flower? And you have to back it up with evidence, okay? So Gilly came around and she gave you all a big piece of butcher paper. So in your group, we still have the markers out?
She told us not to touch it or draw on it.
I know, we need to get the pens out is all I'm trying to say.
Some
Piece of paper. We would like you to write a claim as to why your pollinator works best for your flower and back it up with your evidence. Okay? Any questions?
Yeah.
All right, you have just a few minutes to do that. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to have you in your table group take your pollinator to another.
Can it do, is it on the next slide? You have done with your one pollinator, on your one flower, you came up with the best design you have. But you have enough information. Is your pollinator the best design for all flowers?
So we're going to pass the flowers, thank you. Now what we would like you to do is test your pollinator on this new flower to see if it works. All right, so let's see. You guys.
What was the other flower you tested?
The Jack, this one.
The one with the curvy.
The Jack in the Pulpit?
So your pollinator that was designed for bucket orchid also worked here?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And the other,
Bucket orchid?
what did you test?
The poppy, I think.
The poppy
Yes. And did it work?
Did it work?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So poppy is, okay, got it.
All right. So who did the Dutchman's pipe? Okay.
And there
And
were
what?
2, right?
Right. Okay. So what other flower did you guys test? The
Jack in the Pulpit is that one that has
Right.
a little flap?
And did it work?
Yes.
Okay.
So that design worked for Jack in the Pulpit as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And what other flower? Because you guys had the Dutchman's pipe as well, right?
We had the
Oh, you did.
pipe. The pipe, that
Okay.
worked, and then we did poppy.
And did it work?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll explain this.
Okay, good, because I don't get it.
Right now.
Gillian, I watched you make just a minus sign for ours, but it worked.
So Jack in the Pulpit, or I'm sorry, this, it worked.
It worked, so it should be a plus, yeah?
So all of them have worked so far? Okay,
Okay.
cool.
What about, so now, okay, the Jack in the Pulpit, who originally had that and they tested it, okay. And so it worked for your Jack in the Pulpit, correct? Okay. And what flower did you test? And did it work?
Yes.
Did anyone else have that one? Okay,
And so it worked for Dutchman's pipe as well? Okay.
okay. So who had the poppy? All right, and originally it worked for the poppy.
Yeah.
Okay, and what flower did you test?
What is this?
The bucket orchid. So did it work? No. Okay. So the one that they had for the poppy did not work for the bucket orchid. All right, and
There's another poppy.
right, and you guys had
Poppy to start.
okay. So poppy to start worked, and then you guys also had the bucket orchid
And no, it
and did not work. Did we miss anybody?
Anyone else?
So, do you want to explain the chart?
Yes.
Okay.
So based on, and obviously we don't have enough time. If we had more time, it would have been nice if you could have all gone around and tested all of the flowers, and then we'd have even more data to work with. But we're going to work with, but we do have more data now than we did when you were just making a pollinator for the one flower design. So, based on our class data, does every pollinator, will a pollinator that was designed work for every single flower on the planet?
No.
Okay, so
I think ours will.
I think ours will.
I'm pretty confident.
but will okay.
Yeah, that's
All right.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay right now. So
I'm sure.
so now with go ahead.
Well, but you got the gist that yes, typically not every pollinator will work for every flower. There are 2 pages actually. It's H6 and it's the one that follows. It's a
Page
pollination.
33.
Okay, that makes sense.
It says at the top, what can flowers reveal about their pollinators? So we're going to have you read through this as quickly as you can. As you are doing a close read on this article, you can write we would like you to write an asterisk if you have, if something answers your questions or something that really interesting idea that stands out, mark it with an exclamation mark. And if you still have questions about things you're curious about, put a question mark as you're reading, okay? I did that kind of quickly.
And the idea is now you're getting more science reasoning behind what we're working on.
And collecting more data.
More collecting more data.
Things that you discovered, some things that either really stood out, or questions, or things that maybe you had questions for before, but now they've been answered through that passage. Anything that really popped out at you for any reason? Yes?
That different animals and insects pollinate different plants.
It's a huge idea. Yes.
We thought some plants were slutty and others were easy to
That's one way to put it. Somebody else? Yes.
But like some plants can only be pollinated by one animal. That was interesting.
Right. Okay. So, anyone else? Last one more? Adaptation for
Or depending on its needs.
the plant's needs, or? Okay, I'm just
Really both
trying.
though. Animals have adapted to go to different plants.
I know, and that's why I'm
plants
trying to
have
clarify,
adapted
and that's why I'm trying to
for
clarify,
different
right?
animals.
Okay. All right, so thinking about your claim, your evidence, some of you still have it in front of you, or you can just think about it. Think about how you might modify your claim with your evidence so that you had a stronger / better claim and evidence from what you originally wrote. How would you modify that? You just really quick, maybe just talk about it in your group really quickly. How would you? So I'd like you now to take a look at your 2 handouts. It's H7A. There are 2 pages. H7A. So I'd like you now to take a look at your 2 handouts. It's H7A. There are 2 pages. H7A. There's another page that follows right after it. Yeah, there are 2 pages, and these 2 handouts kind of give you a better idea and explanation, examples on why it's so important to have a good claim with good backup evidence to support that. We're going to let you read that in your own time. But it takes what you've learned so far today about your claim and your evidence and how to maybe make that a little bit better. The importance of the reasoning, the importance of the 2 combined, and how they support each other. The next thing I would like you to do is take a look at handout H8. It is a student sample. Could you go ahead and move to the next slide? Brandon's explanation. Thank you. Brandon's explanation. So take a look at H8 and I'll explain how this page is broken up a little bit. Should say Brandon. There's another page that follows right after it. Yeah, there are 2 pages, and these 2 handouts kind of give you a better idea and explanation, examples on why it's so important to have a good claim with good backup evidence to support that. We're going to let you read that in your own time. But it takes what you've learned so far today about your claim and your evidence and how to maybe make that a little bit better, the importance of the reasoning, the importance of the 2 combined, and how they support each other. The next thing I would like you to do is take a look at handout H8. It is a student sample. Could you go ahead and move to the next slide? Brandon's explanation. Thank you. Whoops. Brandon's explanation. So take a look at H8 and I'll explain how this page is broken up a little bit. It should say Brandon. Find it.
Did today. Did you make a case for something today? And did you support it with evidence, with information? And how important it is to ground your argument in the principles of that discipline. So in the scientific reasoning, if you're talking about something with science, or in that mathematical reasoning. So go ahead and take about 2 minutes to kind of discuss these ideas.
Just a couple more things. I just want to stress again the importance, really, like when you have a few moments, just go ahead and read through this framework, the 2 pages that are in your handouts that I was referring to, just a little bit more information about why scientific explanation argument is so important and why we teach that to our students, okay? So do give yourself a chance to read over this. It is really important. A couple other announcements before we let you go and before we give you the papers for Got to Meet. Tomorrow, at the end of the day, we do have an ice cream social. And at the ice cream social, we do have a few really excellent prizes being raffled off, but you got to be there to receive those. A reminder for lunch today, there are STEM professionals at the different tables for lunch today. So we do encourage you and invite you to sit with those STEM professionals and pick their brains, you know. What field are they in? Why did they go into it? What are they doing? How do they use, math and science in their profession? So some of you did come up with questions on Monday for these STEM professionals. Think about those questions. Ask them. If you have any other questions, ask them. This is a great time to really pick somebody's brain. The other thing, once you have your Gots and Needs on the chart paper, one person at your table gets to keep your whiteboard. The rest of you, we have one for you as well. If you get to take one with you. I know, nice, all right. So yeah, I'm gonna come around and just give you the.
But your ticket for your whiteboard is your Gots and Needs.
Yeah.